Okay, so I poured from the bowl, I poured it out onto my surface over here. I'm going to actually get this out of the way so I can kind of get into a better space here. All right, I want you to be able to fully see this. Okay, so it is kind of, as you will see, very, very runny. Very wet, I should say. Not super runny, but very wet. It is spreading already. So what we're going to do is we're going to look to add just enough flour in here that it's going to start to hold its shape. So I am going to start actually by, here we go, I'm going to flour my hands really well over the top. I'm going to flour the top. You can see how that flattens out. Okay. So now we're going to start. This is kind of like the folds that you would do with a regular sourdough, but not as extreme and not as much. You want to make sure that you keep the bottom floured so it doesn't stick a lot. And you can see already it's starting to hold. It doesn't take much, which is why you want to do just little bits at a time when you do anything with gluten-free. It can all change very quickly from dry to wet. It absorbs the water and blends in, so where you see some water hanging out and you might think that you're going to have lumps of flour, you will not. And that's partially thanks to how wet this is, because it will, the water and the moisture is going to absorb. So you do not have to worry too much. Get some of that out of the way. Move it over here so it's not sticking so bad there. So all together we added maybe another 75 grams between what we just did here and what we already added to it when it was in the bowl. So not much, just enough to get it to firm up a little bit. So you can see the difference here now where it's starting to hold its shape. Again, I'm going to do just a little bit more because it is still a bit on the sticky side, but I think this is going to be our last roll. And you see where I just go from side to side and from front to back. And I think this is going to be it. I think that we are done. Okay, we've done a pretty good job. As you can see now, we have it in a circle. It is still very sticky. So was the Caputo yesterday, but it's holding a little bit better. Actually, I'm still spreading. So again, I'm going to add just a little more. Still not quite happy. All right, so now I'm a bit happier with it now. That's better. So again, I've folded, I've just kind of shaped it. I'm just kind of trying to kind of shape it a bit better. We're going to make a nice, I want to make a nice ball here. We're looking to make a nice tight ball. Just going to keep rolling it up. Rolling it up again. This one is definitely wetter than the Caputo, okay? But I think we are pretty good here. So I'm going to grab it now. Again, gently. And we're gonna, you know what? Nope. Okay, still too sticky. All right, so no, it is definitely still too sticky. At this point, I'm going to say I'm going to probably increase the recipe before this comes out. I'm going to probably increase it just automatically by 50 to 100 grams. Yeah, the Bob's is definitely more difficult to handle. All right, now let's try this again. Now that I kneaded that in a bit, keep going. Okay, now you can see it's not flattening out. Still sticky, but we're able to actually get that round shape. We're actually able to tighten it up, get it into that round shape, and it should be okay to pick up and place back in. So what I do is kind of want it to be kind of together there. You don't want a lot of huge gaps. Now it's a little bit, so you can see the difference. The top is drier and it is going to come up much easier. Get that excess off there, kind of shape it. So I like to try and keep, since we were already there, that smooth side. So I flipped it over, there's flour. I'm just going to try and kind of work some more of that flour out and into the dough. Here we go. Again, shaping it the best you can. You want to just try and get a nice tight ball. I'm going to roll this over. Now we have a nice smooth bottom. And I'm going to plop that right into my bowl. Now the top of your dough does not have to look pretty in any way, because it is going to end up being the bottom of your loaf when you go to cook. So the top, you want to make sure that the seams are, brought together. If you need to, you can kind of pinch it together, pat it, smooth it out, and then you're good to go.